Imagine a giant, terrifying demon king literally playing dead because a kid chewing on noodles glanced at him. He didn't even punch, the beast just saw his face and chose survival. Lock yourself in and subscribe right now, or you might not wake up tomorrow. We're looking at a world where everyone is casually practicing magic and using high-tech cultivation gear. Everything is peaceful, normal, everyday stuff, right? Until a literal giant frog demon drops out of the sky and starts tearing the city apart. Enter this guy named Zhu Yi, who supposedly steps up, takes down the beast solo, and gets immortalized as the ultimate savior. Fast forward to the present day at Faction 60, and it's the first day of the high school semester. A bunch of sketchy seniors corner a quiet freshman with a ridiculously low power ranking of 5. Before things get ugly, this legendary girl named Sun Rong steps in and unleashes a massive golden beam of energy that sends the bullies running. She promises to protect him, but our main boy Wang Ling is just standing there, totally unbothered. He doesn't even blink. Now comes the real trial, a placement test where students have to strike the spiritual projection of that same giant frog demon to measure their power. First up is Xian, a total show-off who swings with everything he's got, only to score a mediocre 404. Next guy Li Hao barely scratches a 75. Here is the real twist: the frog spirit is actually conscious, locked under the school for 10 years, secretly draining the kid's energy to break its seal. Then Sun Rong walks up, she wins up a punch, lets it fly, and boom, the system registers a massive score of 22,019. Finally, Wang Ling steps into the dark room, casually chewing on a bag of crispy noodles. The giant frog looks at him, thinking it's just a weak little snack, but then it stops dead in its tracks. It looks at his face, remembers a terrifying memory from 10 years ago, and realizes this quiet kid is the actual monster who defeated him back then. Pure, unadulterated terror. So what does the Demon King do? It literally faints and plays dead before Wang Ling's fist can even touch it, terrified that a real strike will erase its soul forever. Since the frog is knocked out cold, the teachers assume Sun Rong did all the heavy lifting and Wang Ling just finished off a dying target. And get this, they put him straight into the elite class anyway. Their first class is a summoning lesson with Director Pan Shenghuo, where they have to draw a spiritual circle to pull a beast from another dimension. Sun Rong goes first, creating a massive rift and summoning a magnificent, glowing divine dragon that leaves the entire room speechless. Now, it's Wang Ling's turn to draw, but he has a major problem. There are so many powerful spirits crowded around his energy that he doesn't know which one will slip through. He draws the symbol, the portal opens, and who do you think crawls out of the rift? The giant frog is back. It's the exact same Demon King, shrunk down and forced to be his pet. No shot he hides his powers now. So picture this: a literal newborn baby crawls out of the womb entirely on his own. No doctor help, nothing. This is Wang Ling, and by the time he's a toddler, his parents are already sweating bullets trying to raise him. His dad spends half a year of savings on a limited edition, dragon slaughtering, sword toy just to please him, but his mom secretly swaps it for a cheap counterfeit to save cash. Now is staring down his first major life crisis. If he rejects the toy, his parents will bug him forever, but if he touches it, the raw spiritual energy flowing from his baby fingers will turn it to dust. Sure enough, the second his tiny hand makes contact, the fake blade snaps like a dry twig. His parents immediately start screaming at each other, and their entire marriage is on the line right then and there. Wang Ling is calculating different outcomes at a staggering 380, 7 times a second, trying to figure out how to fix this. So what does he do? He straight up pees on his dad. It instantly diffuses the tension. The parents laugh it off to grab diapers, and a literal divorce is avoided by a well-timed baby splash. Crisis. Keeping a kid like this under wraps is a total nightmare. By age 6, the family has to make a pact to hide his terrifying power from the world. His dad is constantly scouring the internet for sketchy, bootleg amulets to suppress his energy, but they keep backfiring. He's melting solid black gold bowls and warping steel chopsticks just by eating dinner. And get this, on his 7th birthday, he blows out his candles and nearly burns the entire house to the ground. Wang Ling eventually discovers the daily gold pills. His parents feed him are actually heavy, duty power reducers designed to keep him normal. Knowing how much his parents worry, he vows to keep his head down and blend into the background at his new high school. But that plan immediately goes out the window when he walks into a chaotic student election. This rich girl named Sun Rong is literally buying votes by handing out free bags of dry noodles to everyone in the courtyard. Wang Ling loves dry noodles. He doesn't care about school politics, but he needs those snacks. So he strikes a deal: 5 noodle packs for 5 votes. Sun Rong is thrilled, thinking she has everyone wrapped around her finger, and she even tries to slip him a free drink while whispering some weirdly poetic phrase about giving a part of herself to the world. No shot is he falling for that. Wang Ling hates owing favors, so instead of voting, he sneaks off and leaves one of his parents' gold pills on the counter to square the debt. Later in class, the teacher starts explaining an ancient high-level mind control technique used by a historical figure called the Little Wise Guy. It turns out, giving free gifts combined with specific spoken words creates a spiritual field that secretly brainwashes everyone nearby into becoming loyal followers. Wang Ling's eyes go wide as he realizes Sun Rong's generosity was actually a front for a widespread enchantment spell targeting the entire student body. How crazy is that? He dodged a bullet. Picture this, a room full of high schoolers trying to flex their magical cookware like it's some kind of elite hypebeast drop. One kid pulls out a sleek electric furnace, another's got a cheap knockoff, and then you have Chen Chao showing off this heavy, ancient copper cauldron passed down through his family. Meanwhile, our main guy Wang Ling is just trying to survive the day after accidentally casting a literal seduction spell on Sun Rong. He plays it cool, brushing it off before things get weird, but the tension in the room is already building. Then the teacher steps up and drops the recipe for basic vitality pills like she's reading off a fast food menu. Smash the dragon bone, grind the tortoise shell, dump it all in, and ignite. Simple, right? Well, Guhal decides this is his moment to shine, unveiling a ridiculously expensive, high-tech furnace that literally tunes into feng shui to draw spiritual force. He looks over, expecting to see some master-class alchemy. And what is our boy Wang Ling using? A straight-up microwave. Before anyone can even laugh at the kitchen appliance, Chen Chao's ancient heirloom starts vibrating violently. The metal is bloating, expanding like a balloon about to pop, forcing him to run it off before he blows up the entire classroom. Let's set the scene. School is buzzing, hormones are flying, and Sun Rong is slowly closing the distance on Wang Ling. She's got her target locked. And get this, she has no clue that a pair of high-tech scope crosshairs are painted right on her back. Just as she drops the question, straight up asking him out on a date, a sniper on a nearby roof squeezes the trigger. You think she's done for, right? No shot. Right before the bullet flies, the assassin suddenly collapses, clutching his chest in sheer, inexplicable agony. Turns out, some weird cosmic feedback loops back from Wang Ling's presence, forcing the killer to scramble away. Wang Ling doesn't even blink, he just uses a sudden summons to the teacher's office to slip away from the crowd. He just wanted a quiet life. Right in the middle of this chaos, a massive figure enters the chat. It's Shou Yi, the legendary leader of the school league. He corners Wang Ling in an empty hallway, eyes wide with realization. He knows. He remembers the kid who knocked out the colossal frog demon with a single casual kick. He drops straight to his knees, begging the teenager to take him on as a disciple. So what does Wang Ling do? He hits the Grandmaster with a memory wiping spell, dialed down to exactly 50% power, so he doesn't accidentally liquefy the old man's brain. Shou Yi blinks, stumbles, and wakes up convinced the whole encounter was just a weird midday dream. Just like that, he's forgotten. Next morning, Wang Ling's house is in full chaos mode. Sun Rong literally sent his mother a massive crate of legendary youth pills, and his parents are practically pushing him out the door. His dad tells him to be a man and make it a good date, while his mom is glowing from her new skincare routine. I'm not even joking. Wang Ling realizes there's no escaping this. They pull up to Heavenly Paradise, a massive amusement park that her family cleared out just for the two of them. It's dead quiet, totally empty, and honestly kind of eerie, while they walk past the ancient prophecy wall. Those persistent assassins are tracking them from the shadows, struggling to haul a massive, high-powered weapon onto the high ground. Sunset hits, and they board the giant Ferris wheel. Wang Ling is actually hoping the killers show up, because at least then he might get some peace from all the awkward small talk. Right as the fireworks start blasting colorful sparks into the night sky, the cabin door creaks open. They're already inside the cabin. Two masked killers from the notorious Shadow faction block the exit. Sun Rong immediately steps in front of Wang Ling, calling him her brother to keep him out of the line of fire. She pleads with the assassins to let him go, begging him with her eyes not to do anything reckless. The lead assassin moves forward, blade drawn. Sun Rong's barrier fails under the sudden assault, and she gasps as the cold metal closes in. And then the lights go out. The Grand Masters of the Shadow faction are losing their minds right now because their high-profile hit on Sun Rong failed in the worst way possible. Their top agents got literally launched into orbit. For a group that has maintained a spotless record of execution for hundreds of years, this is a massive embarrassment. So the boss does something totally unprecedented for a student target. He authorizes a direct, high-level shadow kill order. Meanwhile, back at school, Sun Rong is walking around like nothing even happened because her memory of the attack was wiped clean. Her classmates are crowding around Wang Ling, asking if he actually scored a date with the most popular girl in school. Before he can even answer, a massive security detail rolls up to put her under tight lockdown. That is when Zhu Yi steps in to claim all the credit for saving her, keeping Wang Ling's insane power entirely hidden from the public eye. But this lie backfires immediately. By pretending he defeated the assassins, Zhou Yi accidentally triggers the Shadow faction's full wrath, putting a massive target right on his own back. Dead silence. To counter this terrifying threat, the school gets turned into an actual fortress. We are talking armored cruisers patrolling the skies, retired army veterans guarding the gates, and elite golden pill bodyguards pacing the hallways. They lock Sun Rong inside Professor Wang Zukang's office behind a legendary, unbreakable force field. You'd think she is safe now, right? No shot. An elite assassin named Xu Feng uses a simple earth tunneling technique to slip right past the perimeter cruisers like they aren't even there. He quietly neutralizes the outer guards, paving the way for his partner, a toxic gas specialist named Meter Hammer. These high-level bodyguards don't even get a chance to draw their weapons before a thick, green poison gas fills the corridor. They drop to the floor, gasping for air as Meter Hammer walks right past them. The school's ultimate defense is falling apart in seconds. They never saw it coming. Just as the assassins reach the inner sanctum, Professor Wang Zukang steps out to block their path. The old man might look out of shape, but he unleashes a giant magical weapon that swings with unbelievable speed. Xu Feng tries to fight back, but the professor strikes him down, forcing the assassin to detonate a desperate smokescreen to flee. And get this, while one assassin runs, the other encounters a seemingly harmless green dog wandering the hallway. Meter Hammer laughs, thinking it's just a stray, but the creature suddenly begins draining his life essence directly out of his body. Within moments, the elite killer is left entirely powerless, shivering on the floor. That leaves only Xu Jin, the invisible leader of the Hammer team, who is secretly hiding on campus while charging up a massive hammer strike. He believes he is completely undetectable, waiting for the perfect moment to break the barrier and finish the job. Who do you think stumbles right into his hiding spot? It is Wang Ling. Our boy is literally just trying to collect his delivery package of crispy noodles, totally unbothered by the chaos. He looks right at the invisible assassin, calmly letting him know that his partner was already taken care of. Realizing his entire squad has been neutralized, Xu Jin snaps, unleashing a massive surge of energy in a desperate final stand. Before the dust even settles, the media is already broadcasting the news, declaring that Zhu Yi single-handedly defeated the entire Shadow faction assault. The real monster behind the victory just walks away, opening his bag of noodles while the world praises a fake hero. Talk about a perfect cover. Our boy Wang Ling is straight up hiding out at home, playing sick after his own redirected power knocked him flat. To keep his insane power level a secret, he let Zhu Yi take all the credit for defeating that crazy assassin. Sun Rong is freaking out, thinking he's practically on his deathbed, so she literally drops a high-tech private medical pod right in his room to blast him with healing mist every single hour. His mom is not having it though, telling him he has to stop faking and get back to school. Right on cue, his classmates show up at his front door carrying a massive stash of crazy high-grade cultivator supplements, designer pills, and even a wild chicken blood tonic. Sun Rong is still deeply shaken because she actually called in her family's private chopper to rescue him, and seeing her this worried makes him realize he can't keep this sick act up forever. She hands him this special bracelet for the upcoming annual power test, basically begging him to take it, because she knows he's hiding his true strength. He couldn't hide forever. This isn't your average written exam. They have to channel their raw spiritual energy outward, shaping it into a visible glowing sphere right in front of everyone. How do you even prepare for a test like that? The bigger your sphere, the higher your score, and the top schools are watching this leaderboard like hawks. First up is Wei Yang, who manages a massive physical manifestation, scoring a huge 1950 despite still hurting from a brutal slap in practice. Then, the powerhouse chairman Tong steps up and blows the roof off the place, conjuring a massive sphere that shatters the old records with a score of over 5,000. Everyone in Faction 50, 9 is losing their minds, thinking nobody can touch him, until Sun Rong steps up and secures second place nationwide with an equally monstrous display. Now it's Wang Ling's turn, and he is desperately trying to slide under the radar with just a microscopic drop of his power. But even his tiniest trickle of energy is too much for the testing machine to handle, threatening to blow the whole system to pieces. To prevent a massive explosion, he frantically redirects the excess energy and launches the entire glowing sphere straight into the upper atmosphere. Dead silence. Everyone is staring at the leaderboard expecting a massive number, but instead the screen just displays the word "no" next to his name. How does a literal glitch end up sitting at the top of the entire country? No shot did he actually get a 0, but because his sphere is currently floating in outer space, the system is totally glitched out. And get this, the glitched "no" score somehow registers at the very top of the national rankings, putting a giant target on his back. Panicking because he doesn't want the attention, his friends decide they need to hack into the school's central database at midnight to manually change his score to a normal, boring 175. They sneak in, draw a complex spiritual formation to bypass the security firewall, and start digging through the primitive polarity code. I'm not even joking. While they're trying to quietly edit his data, they realize someone else is already inside the system, aggressively rewriting the entire database. It turns out Tong Jingsha from the rival Faction 59 is also hacking the system, and his sloppy code triggers a massive security alarm that forces everyone to run for their lives. The rival group looks at the updated board, utterly bewildered to see this unknown student named Wang Ling sitting comfortably above their legendary chairman. They want blood now. Chairman Tong stares at the screen, his pride deeply wounded by this mysterious rival who just hijacked his spotlight. He vows to hunt down Faction 60 during the upcoming National Spiritual Sword Competition to drag this shadow powerhouse into the light. Wang Ling just wanted a peaceful, quiet life, but he just accidentally declared war on the strongest school in the country. The storm is coming. The national power test results finally drop, and everyone is staring at the leaderboard like they've seen a ghost. Right there at the very top, sitting at number 1, is Wang Ling. The teachers are whispering, panicking, claiming it has to be a system glitch because the kids' grades are usually bottom tier. But the reality is already setting in, and the timing couldn't be worse. Faction 60 just found out they have to fight their ultimate rivals, Faction 59, in the very first round. We are talking about a school that has historically wiped the floor with them, boasting 3 wins out of 20, 4 matches over the last century. How are they supposed to survive this? Meanwhile, the news cameras are already rolling over at Faction 59's training grounds, showing off their elite squad moving in perfect sync. Their ace, a guy named Tong Birdie 2, is out here giving interviews with the most effortless confidence you've ever seen. He politely praises Sun Rong, but when the reporter brings up Wang Ling's first place rank, he just smiles and wishes him luck, writing him off as a fluke. No shot he's that calm. Back at Faction 60, the reality of their situation is looking incredibly grim. The squad is totally underpowered, and get this, they only have 4 human members when the rules strictly require 5. So what does the faculty do? They look down at Froggy 2, who is literally just a green dog sitting on the floor, and decide he's their final fighter. The green dog casually initiates a transformation, shifting his shape to qualify for the tournament. To make it official, they put him through a makeup power exam, hoping he can at least register a decent score. He takes the test, the machine processes the data, and suddenly a massive 5,000 point rating flashes on the screen. I'm not even joking, the dog just casually outscored Faction 59's Golden Boy. Tong Birdie 2 gets the notification on his phone and his jaw literally drops, beat by a green dog. With the roster set, the team has exactly 3 days to get their spiritual swords ready for the arena. Qin Chou proudly pulls out his blade, Le Chao, a weapon forged by his father that he's been using to chop firewood and nurture for years. Wu Ha shows off his heavy sword made from the teeth of a high-level beast, but neither of them has managed to actually summon a sword spirit yet. Then Sun Rong steps up and draws her blade Ocean. A bright, beautiful blue light fills the entire room as her fully formed sword spirit manifests right in front of them, showing her dedication is on a whole different level. And then, just to flex a little harder, she casually mentions her family forged 13 backup copies of the exact same sword just in case. Everyone is stunned into silence, but then they turn their heads toward Wang Ling. They realize they haven't seen his weapon yet. Do you think he's actually gonna pull out some god-tier legendary blade? Or is he hiding something else? Dead silence. While Faction 60 is busy training, Faction 59 is cooking up something genuinely terrifying behind closed doors. Tong Birdie 2 meets with the director to finalize their roster, but they only have 4 names written down. Why? Because their 5th member is a secret weapon so dangerous, so volatile, that even mentioning his name makes the council hesitate. Deep in the shadows, this mysterious fighter laughs as he receives his activation orders. He's intrigued that someone was desperate enough to summon him back into the game, and he's more than ready to unleash chaos. They have no idea what's coming. Faction 60 is gearing up for the massive national sword competition, and everyone is flexing their gear. We've got swords forged from Night Devil Tiger teeth, legendary blades, the whole 9 yards. But then there's Wang Ling. Why is he sweating bullets? It's not because he's scared of losing, but because he's terrified his actual power will leak and cause a literal global crisis. While the kids are packing, the TV in the background cuts to some wild breaking news. A massive explosion just rocked a spiritual chemical plant, and the Cultivation Council has surrounded the hidden headquarters of the infamous Shadow Faction. Right on cue, Master Xian steps up to the cameras, smiling and bragging about how he's stopped these villains twice before. Except he fell straight into a trap. And get this, the Shadow Faction leader lured him there on purpose just to detonate a legendary Thunder Pearl right in his face. A weapon designed to vaporize a senior cultivator down to the very last fiber. With Joey out of the picture, she sets her sights on her next target, Sun Rong. Nobody saw that coming. Meanwhile, our crew pulls up to Faction 59, and the tension is instantly thick enough to cut with a knife. The head of Faction 59, Director Shi, immediately starts throwing major shade at Professor Pond. He openly mocks their budget and brags about how Sun Rong should have joined his school instead. To make matters worse, Shi decides to flex his spiritual pressure, running a grand testing trick to scan the Faction 60 students. He looks at Wang Ling and laughs, calling him a low-value bottom feeder. But what happens next? The amulet starts to crack. You see Director Xi's sudden burst of energy triggers a violent resonance between Wang Ling's cheap peach wood sword and his counterfeit power suppressing amulet. No shot is he going to keep this contained if that seal breaks. Wang Ling's energy spikes dangerously, threatening to unleash a force so unstable it could level the entire courtyard. He drops to his knees, clutching his stomach in agonizing pain. Everyone panics, thinking the testing trick seriously injured him, which is honestly the perfect cover. Sure, he's actually struggling to keep his universe-ending power from leaking out, but hey, it gets him out of the tournament. His chaotic plan actually worked. So we're right back in the heat of the tension where this guy Tong, the student union chairman, decides to pull up on Sun, Rong, and Bei. He's acting all high and mighty, trying to flex his new position like it actually means something. Sun Rong is not having any of it, telling him she chose Faction 60 specifically to stay away from arrogant guys like him. And get this, just as the trash talking peaks, everyone notices something bizarre. Wang Ling is literally on fire. No, seriously, the guy is standing there smoking and collapsing, sending the entire crowd into a panic. Swords are drawn, teachers are screaming at kids to control themselves, and the whole courtyard turns into pure chaos before they finally wheel him away. The medics rush in to check on him, only to find he has no heartbeat. The guy is flatlining. But the second they turn their backs to figure out what to do, he's gone. Turns out our boy used the flash trick to break out of his constraints, but the raw feedback cracked his suppression amulet even more. If that seal breaks, we aren't talking about a school rivalry anymore. We are talking about a global disaster. He's secretly calling his dad from Faction 59's territory, begging for a replacement seal before his unchecked energy wipes the city off the map. Meanwhile, the rest of the crew gets dragged into this massive, high-tech gym to hear the rules of the upcoming sword competition. It's basically a live action hardpoint match where teams have to capture 5 elemental altars scattered across a massive arena. Faction 60 is already at a major disadvantage because they only have 4 active members. That's when Faction 59's final member, Bufang, makes his grand entrance by riding in on a massive wave of water. The guy doesn't even have a single drop of water on his clothes, which is a major flex, but instead of focusing on the match, he immediately starts hitting on Faction 60's leader, Ms. Zun. He offers her a flower, promising to betray his own school and destroy his teammates if she agrees to date him. She rejects him instantly. Humiliated and furious, Bufang lashes out, but Qin Chao steps right into the line of fire to protect his teacher. Qin Chao gives this proud speech about his family's honor, standing tall against the threat. Bufang's power is no joke. He unleashes a wave of negative energy that literally swallows Qin Chao's arm, leaving nothing but empty space. The teachers watching from the sidelines are sweating bullets because they realize Bufang is using Annihilation force. It's a dangerous power that deletes physical matter on contact. I'm not even joking. If this energy collides with Wang Ling's positive spiritual force, the sheer reaction could vaporize the entire planet. How does Wang Ling handle this world-ending threat? He quietly walks past, secretly casts a high-level repair spell to instantly restore Qin Chao's missing arm and keeps moving. No shot anyone noticed, but that quick spell pushes his amulet to the absolute breaking point. The seal is barely holding. Bufang, sensing something weird, throws a heavy punch directly into Wang Ling's face to test him. Wang Ling just takes the hit, showing 0 reaction and 0 spiritual energy, leaving Bufang utterly baffled as the teams are finally sent to their preparation rooms. While Faction 60 is busy eating crispy noodles, Bufang wanders off and corners a suspicious cleaning lady who snuck onto the campus. He tries his usual smooth-talking routine, but she turns out to be a deadly assassin in disguise. When he calls her an old lady, she snaps, unleashing a terrifying aura of her own. Bufang tries to flex his negative energy to intimidate her, expecting her to run away in fear. Instead, she just stares at his power with pure disgust, completely unimpressed by his little tricks. He picked the wrong fight. Zhang Luing has Wang Ling wrapped up in immortal binding ropes, and she has 0 clue she is standing on a live warhead. Her foot is resting right on his chest, pressing down on the one thing keeping his god-like power sealed. One wrong move, 1 extra ounce of pressure, and his amulet cracks. If that seal breaks, the entire planet gets wiped off the map. You can actually hear the tiny, terrifying sound of metal fracturing. Wang Ling is trying to force his own power back down, but this girl is just grinding her heel into him, demanding he put his head on the ground. She thinks she's just bullying some weak freshman. Dead silence. Back at the academy, chaos breaks out when a student runs in screaming that Wang Ling has been kidnapped right off the street. And get this, our boy is actually just sitting in the back of a getaway car, totally chill, chatting with this wrinkly old driver. The old man tells him to just relax, saying his boss has professional boundaries and won't hurt him. Wang Ling, being the master of staying under the radar, tries to strike a deal to get untied. But the old man just shakes his head, saying only the boss can remove those ropes. Wang Ling looks at him and asks why a high-ranking faction would send a literal senior citizen on a kidnapping mission. Is the Shadow faction really that desperate? Nobody saw that coming. When Sun Rong hears the news, she straight up loses it. The school board wants to evacuate her because she's the main target, even saying Faction 60 might have to forfeit. She looks them dead in the eye and says Wang Ling is more important than any of this, mobilizing her family's elite forces to storm the old, abandoned campus. They arrive at the dusty, ruined grounds and spot Wang Ling tied up high above. Sun Rong charges in with Team 6, but that old driver steps into the path. You'd think a guy with one foot in the grave would be easy to brush aside, right? No shot, I'm not even joking. He starts flicking tiny wolfberries with enough force to pierce solid concrete, pinning the rescue squad down instantly. He's not just some driver. This isn't some harmless grandpa. It turns out the driver is possessed by the Intention Devil, a terrifying entity killed over a century ago that's been hiding in a dying body. Once they finally manage to bypass him, Sun Rong untees Wang Ling, thinking she just saved his life. Little does she know, Wang Ling was actually enjoying the peace and quiet because it meant he wouldn't have to deal with the upcoming tournament. Fate has other plans, and the Grand Spiritual Sword competition kicks off anyway. The arena is packed, the rules are set, and a massive restoration field is activated so nobody gets permanently hurt. Faction 60 marches onto the field, and Wang Ling realizes his friends risked everything to save him, so he has to play along. Yeah, that just happened. Right as the match starts, Wang Ling's father bursts into the control room, sweating bullets and looking like he's seen a ghost. He grabs the officials, screaming that his son is in grave danger because the suppression amulet is on the verge of breaking. If that seal goes, everyone is dead. So right out of the gate, we find out they slapped a suppression amulet on Wang Ling to keep his monstrous power under wraps, which basically turns him into a total ghost on the radar. Faction 59 is currently scanning the entire map, pinpointing everyone else like they're playing a video game. They spot Chen Chao to the west, Sun Rong up north, and Ko near the south. But Wang Ling, how are they supposed to scan a guy whose energy signature is practically zero? They figure he's hiding out east near the altar of wood, so one of their guys immediately breaks off to go hunt him down. Go Hao knows his team is in deep trouble, so he deploys these insanely expensive decoys to buy some time. He's trying to intercept the hunter before things get ugly, but Faction 59 is already moving with terrifying coordination. Before anyone can even react, the announcement blares out that Faction 59 has locked down the altar of earth. Down at the altar of metal, Chen Chao is trying to secure the zone when Tang corners her. Now, Tang acts all smug, telling Chen Chao she gets 3 free moves because men don't fight women. Chen Chao doesn't hesitate and throws everything she has into a strike. Tang just stands there, taking the hit like it's a light breeze. She didn't even blink. That's when Tang reveals her actual trap, and honestly, it is pure nightmare fuel. She deploys an invisible dimensional web that directly invades Chen Chou's nervous system, hijacking her body with false signals. To the outside world, nothing seems to be happening, but on the inside, Chen Chao is experiencing agonizing pain. I'm not even joking, she is paralyzed, screaming silently while her energy is slowly drained away. While this torture is going down, that green-toed Froggy 2 is hiding in the shadows licking its chops. It realizes it can feast on all this negative energy and excess spiritual force generated by the combatants to break its own seal. Gu Hao finally bursts onto the scene to save Chen Chao, but can he actually break through that smug wall of defense? Faction 59 is just playing with them at this point. Meanwhile, the Altar of Water is turning into a personal battleground. Sun Rong is staring down Tong, and you can feel the decades of family history dragging them both down. Tong tries to play the "We share a sacred bond" card, but Sun Rong is having none of it. She snaps, telling him to keep his mouth shut, and unleashes her ocean dance, sending waves of water straight at him. JP. This loudmouth is standing there, spamming his mouth cannon like there's no tomorrow, but he's running out of vocabulary. He starts throwing personal low blows, trying to bait our boy Wang Ling into losing his cool because he knows emotional slip-ups leak spiritual energy. What he doesn't realize is that Wang Ling is holding back a literal hurricane under that tiny wooden amulet. You can literally hear the wood cracking as the seal on his neck starts to give way. No shot this guy survives if that thing breaks. Wang Ling is past the point of holding back, his eyes change, and the ground beneath his feet begins to tremble. Before the entire zone gets vaporized, the green spirit dog jumps in and straight up devours his runaway negative energy, merging their bodies into this wild hybrid form. Now, Wang Ling has total, unrestricted access to his spiritual force without blowing up the map. He's on a different level now. Lung Fei doesn't even have time to blink before he gets hit so hard he later describes it as getting run over by an 18-wheeler. He flies backwards, skipping across the dirt like a flat stone on water, totally out of the fight. Just like that, Faction 60 locks down the altar of wood, leaving the spectators in the stands staring with their mouths wide open. The opposing Captain Tong isn't stupid. He looks at this massive power spike and immediately tells his team to run. Why fight a monster head on when you can just outrun him? Faction 50. 9 starts playing keep away, rotating between the remaining altars to abuse the 10-second capture delay. While they're scrambling, Wang Ling actually smiles. I'm not even joking, the kid who has spent his entire life suppressing every single emotion actually lets out a genuine smirk. His teammate is losing his mind, asking how he did it, totally unaware that they're walking right into a tactical trap. The trap is already sprung. Boom. Just like that, Faction 50. 9 recaptures 2 altars in a flash, putting them back in the lead. Wang Ling realizes he's a beast, sure, but he's a trapped one. How do you guard 5 points at once when you still have to wait out the 10-second capture timer? That's when Sun Rong steps up, refusing to let him carry this entire fight alone. She looks at the map and realizes they have to split up if they want to stand a chance. She and Gu Hao decide to use the water pathways to slip past the heavy defenders and strike the altar afire. The disgraced Liang Fei is waiting at the altar, still sore from his beating, expecting an easy win when he sees Gu Hao approaching. He laughs, calling him a fat kid who is about to get demolished. But Gu Hao doesn't back down an inch, planting his feet and staring right back into his eyes. Can this kid actually pull off the upset of the tournament? It's time to fight. Look, destiny is a crazy thing. But when Chairman Tom and the Sun family patriarch lock eyes, you can literally feel the history between them. We are talking about a blood feud that has been simmering for 1,000 years. Jinza and Sun Rong are basically the new faces of this ancient war, standing on opposite sides of a line drawn by ancestors who died centuries ago. No pressure, right? Except Sun Rong's family holds a massive grudge because the Tongs humiliated them years ago with their confinement arts. So when things go sideways on the field, she's not just fighting for a trophy, she's trying to drag her family's pride back from the dirt. Losing is simply not an option. Now, the strategy here gets incredibly messy. Sun Rong thinks she's got a solid plan, but the enemy leader is 2 steps ahead, pointing out that she actually has to physically insert the sword into the altar herself to start the clock. Her surprise attack misses by a hair, and suddenly, the opposing team is laughing in her face. And get this, the enemy strategist is losing his mind because his perfect 5-0 sweep is ruined, so he instantly pivots to a brutal 4-1 chokehold. He sends his players to scramble across the metal, wood, and earth altars, while keeping a sneaky scout named Bei at the water altar just to watch Wang Ling's every move. So how does our boy Chen Qiao handle his part of this madness? He runs. Seriously, he is sprinting like his life depends on it because he spent his entire life being called a coward, a useless kid who runs from his own shadow. But there's a method to his panic this time around. He is baiting them. Meanwhile, the fight at the altar of metal is turning into a total meat grinder. Chen Qiao is desperately trying to jam his sword into the slot while under heavy fire, screaming that he can't get the damn thing in. Just when he's about to be pulverized, his teammate steps up, tells him to get moving, and takes the entire onslaught solo. Over at the fire altar, Sun Rong is facing down her childhood rival, who is straight up mocking her about a test she failed when they were kids. It's personal, it's petty, and she is running out of options with only 5 of her 7 swords left. But she still has one terrifying ace up her sleeve, the Devil Teeth sword. But summoning it might destroy her. While they're risking their lives for the game, a terrified onlooker is watching the power levels spike and screaming for them to stop because people are going to die. The referee tries to calm him down, saying the protective barrier will keep the kids safe. But the guy looks him dead in the eye and says, "I'm not talking about the kids, I'm talking about the entire world." No shot is she giving up now, though. Sun Rong literally grips the blade, blood dripping from her hands as she screams about a promise to her friends, refusing to let them down. The sheer force of her resolve triggers 2 massive spiritual explosions at the exact same time. Out of the smoke rises a massive glowing fire fetus, a legendary spirit that requires her to sacrifice her other swords just to summon it. Her opponent is stunned, asking if she's really that desperate to win. She finally unlocked her true strength. We start right in the thick of it. Faction 60 is pulling off a massive chess move. Sun Rong and Guo Hao have this insane plan to snatch the undefended altars while the enemy thinks they have everything figured out. And get this, Faction 60 suddenly locks down the altar of wood. The scoreboard is flipping in real time. How did they pull that off when Wang Ling was supposed to be somewhere else entirely? Turns out, they used the enemy's own high-tech surveillance against them. That wasn't actually Wang Ling standing there, it was Froggy 2 in a perfect disguise, hijacking their spiritual web to track down their hiding spots. Nobody saw that coming. While the arena is going wild, Wang Ling's dad is sitting in the stands, clutching his seat because he knows exactly what's at stake. Ever since he was a kid, Wang Ling had to force himself to fail, letting everyone call him a worthless loser just to keep his terrifying power under wraps. Can you imagine living a life where showing even a spark of genuine emotion could literally tear the world apart? That's what the amulet on his neck is for, keeping his feelings tightly locked in a cage, even when classmates like Sun Rong try to reach out and offer him real friendship. The cage was cracking. The mood entirely shifts when we look over at the altar of metal. Chen Qiao is on the ground, bloodied, barely breathing, and standing over him is a master assassin who shouldn't even be allowed in this school tournament. Wang Ling is watching this happen, and his internal pressure is skyrocketing like a boiling kettle. He's desperately trying to hold the seal together as the countdown ticks down to 0, and they actually manage to secure the final altar of Earth. For a split second, Sun Rong manages to calm him down with just a few soft words, soothing that terrifying storm brewing inside his chest. But that brief moment of relief doesn't last. Then, the nightmare began. The assassin strikes again, and this time she targets Sun Rong. Right in front of Wang Ling's eyes, Sun Rong drops to the ground, her life slipping away in an instant. No shot. The seal on Wang Ling's neck doesn't just crack, it breaks off. I'm not even joking, the ground starts shaking, the sky warps, and the sheer force radiating off this kid is so heavy it makes the assassin realize she just woke up a god. Froggy two-steps in and uses every ounce of his power to freeze time, holding Sun Rong's final breath in place. But he tells Wang Ling the brutal truth. Her soul was torn apart by that strike, and once time starts moving again, she is gone forever, she's gone. They're telling him she's gone. No matter how many times he tries to reset the clock, Sun Rong's soul is just too broken to fix. The reality of it hits like a cold, physical punch to the chest. Froggy two-steps up and straight up freezes the flow of time so they can think. He's got this insane, forbidden theory if they can push their spiritual energy past the speed of light, they might actually force the timeline to bend backward. But the sheer amount of power required for that, it's suicidal. Do you think Wang Ling cares about the laws of nature right now? No shot. He looks his friend in the eyes and basically says what's worse, breaking the universe, or living in a world without her. So Froggy 2 throws down his own life, risking thousands of years of existence, just to give his friend this one shot. They actually pull it off. Next thing we know, Wang Ling is standing in a brand new timeline as a clueless freshman. Some smug seniors immediately corner him, demanding all his golden pills like they own the place. They're flexing, throwing out flashy family names and brand new potions, thinking they've got an easy target. Wang Ling just stares blankly, hands over a 10 yuan bill, and walks away leaving them totally baffled. It looks like the peaceful life he always wanted, but here's the catch. This entire reality is a fake, spawned because Froggy 2's time manipulation clashed with Wang Ling's spatial power. And get this shiny new world is literally siphoning the life out of the original one. If they don't stop it, both realities are going to collapse into nothingness. Meanwhile, deep down in the underworld, the new monarch is dealing with a massive headache. He's got this soul of a young girl who shouldn't even be there, Sun Rong. The connection is still humming, vibrating through the spiritual realm, and the feedback is starting to rattle the ground above. The clock is ticking. Back in the fake world, Wang Ling is walking through an amusement park, but something is seriously off. He stops dead in front of this ancient prophecy wall, getting this heavy sense of deja vu. He feels like he's been here before with someone incredibly important, but his memories are totally blank. That's when Sun Rong finally learns the truth. Wang Ling broke the universe just to bring her back. He went totally berserk and spun up an entire reality. But if she doesn't find a way to wake him up right now, everyone dies. So what does she do? She decides to destroy this dream world herself. Wang Ling rushes in just as the world starts tearing at the seams, barely stabilizing the collapse before everything dissolves. But there is a heavy, brutal price to pay for fixing this. To keep the world safe, he has to put his amulet back on, which means sealing his emotions away forever. All those feelings, the connection, his memories of Sun Rong, gone in an instant. He chose world peace. Next up, this overpowered baby might actually vaporize his parents' house with one